Good evening, this is a brief cyclone update from 28storms.com on this Thursday, November 11th. The U.S. Joint Typhoon Warning Center has issued their last advisory on Tropical Cyclone 4A, located just off the coast of Oman. And the latest microwave satellite pass reveals that the remaining low-level surface circulation is exposed to the south of all of the strongest convection. Perhaps you can see this even better on the most recent visible image. We can see that the circulation is now completely void of any significant shower activity, and even some of the convection located to the northeast of the center is showing signs of weakening. The synoptic pattern across the Arabian Sea is behaving as forecast. The trough over the Middle East is continuing to dip more toward the southeast, and this storm is running into a brick wall of southwest vertical wind shear, and that is the main reason why the storm has dissipated. The southwest vertical wind shear may allow for some of the shower activity associated with the remnants of Tropical Cyclone 4A to extend into the extreme eastern portion of the Oman coastline, and perhaps even southeast Iran and the lower half of Pakistan. However, it is unlikely that the rainfall estimates will be overly significant, as this trough will continue to shear what is left of the tropical cyclone apart, and in addition we still have a lot of dry air working its way into the storm out of the Arabian Peninsula. Elsewhere, the Indian Ocean is quiet, and neither the ECMWF nor the GFS models show any development within the next 5 to 7 days. Into the southern hemisphere, we do notice that upper-level ridging is now present over the top end of Australia. However, there are no areas of low pressure just off the coastline, and so tropical cyclone formation is not anticipated near Australia over the next 3 to 5 days. But over here into the southern Pacific, the potential for cyclone development isn't overly high, but if we are going to get any type of development anywhere in the southern hemisphere, it is going to be in this general location within the next week or so, and that is the result of upper-level ridging beginning to build a little bit more toward the south, as the westerlies, along with the mid-latitude systems, are going to at least temporarily also shift a little bit more toward the south. As we just saw on the water vapor, there is still the presence of a mid-level trough dangling across New Caledonia, just to the south of Fiji, and we can also see this by the relatively large shear values located over this general area. But over here toward the north, this is where the upper level ridge is located, and it's forecast to strengthen over the next 3 to 5 days. This subtle pattern change is going to allow for the monsoon trough to also extend a little bit more toward the south, and in this general area, that is where we may begin to see a broad area of low pressure form at the surface. The latest 200 millibar streamlines and shear and wind shear forecast from the latest run of the GFS model is also showing the greater influence of upper level ridging across the southern Pacific, but here we are looking at the initial time frame. You can barely just make out that upper level low that is still present over the Coral Sea, and you can also make out the mid to upper level associated trough with that upper level low, along with much of its vertical wind shear. But notice that the system is going to shift a little bit more toward the south as it begins to weaken, and if we look a little bit more toward the north, we have more indications of upper level ridging trying to develop out in this general area, especially just to the east of Fiji, but this whole entire region overall is going to start to witness at least slightly more favorable conditions for tropical development. So what is the GFS showing at the surface? Well, at the initial starting point, we don't really see a whole lot out there, but as we slowly work our way into the medium range, the monsoon trough does become a little bit more active, and we will definitely have a surface trough of low pressure here amongst the South Pacific Islands, and within the next 4 to 5 days we begin to see a broad 1008 millibar surface low form along that monsoon trough, and eventually it will more than likely get turned more toward the southeast and then become extra tropical as it gets picked up by a mid-latitude system. Furthermore, the GFS model does have some model support from the ECMWF. Both models show a fairly similar solution. So no development is forecast in the Indian Ocean or Southern Pacific over the next 72 hours, but there is roughly a 40 to 50% chance that a minimal tropical cyclone forms somewhere out into the Southern Pacific. As of right now, there are no indications that anything significant will form, but as always, we will continue to monitor the ongoing medium-range threat here at 28storms.com/cyclone, and you can go ahead and anticipate another video update by sometime tomorrow evening.